You ready?
Yeah, I got it. Be right there.
I'm live now.
Okay, go ahead. Talk.
All right. Hello everybody. Basically, I'm back again for another a live session talk about just about life and just different subject matter and music. Well, preferably my music and things of that nature. So I hope you guys enjoy. So we're just gonna basically start off with a general conversation. It's gonna basically be a more specific and succinct conversation as time goes on. But yeah. So to begin with, I'll just say that you know we we were originally talking about some things, but we wanted to do it on live. So to break the ice, is there any like question you want to ask me?
Yes, the times we living in, I'd like to ask you a question because it's very important for people to know what they're destined to do while they're here. Because as you can see, the times is getting harder and rougher for many people. And the main thing that I would like for you to tell me is how you feel people can analyze themselves and how could they find a way out of what they're going through in different ways. It don't always have to be monetary, which that is the problem now. But how could they draw money to themselves?
Well, people always like tend to define finance or like financial security or financial wealth as something that should be sought out, should be like the end all be all. You know what I mean? It's like it's basically that it should be the main focal point or the main focus of actually achieving it. But to be honest, life has a way of working in opposites. You know what I mean? So people would expect that like they'll achieve like financial security by like doing certain things to get it, but like you have to realize that true wealth comes from affinity for or a passion for something that you're pursuing. You know what I'm saying, or
Yeah.
a goal that you're pursuing. So your general affinity for your career or the goal that you're going for, whether it be like philanthropy or like whether I don't know whatever you want to be an astronaut or a musician or things of that nature. Basically, your affinity and love for that is going to define how much wealth that you receive from that career that you're going after. And then basically a love for God too is very integral and important in achieving your goals. You know what I mean? And what you're seeking out. You know what I'm saying? So we tend to get it like a little bit misconstrued sometimes when it comes to achieving the things that we do want. We do it by like terrestrial means or not by celestial means.
Why?
If you can get what I'm saying. So we do everything like that we can see, taste, touch, feel, and hear. But people forget about the sense, the intangible. Those are all the tangible things, the things
Right.
that you can go through scientific method. You know what I mean, and observe and view in this terrestrial plane on Earth. But if you really look at the intangible things, like the fruit of the spirit in the Bible, if you look at love, you know what I'm saying, peace, meekness, humility, things of that nature, we could achieve true success.
Yes, and you speaking about that, the word of God said that, so a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What is that saying to you? Or what you can share with
So
the people about that?
that's that's basically what a man thinks, so is he. So like that has to do with like potential energy. You know what I'm saying? We have the potential to uh to make applicable anything that we think and anything that we say. So if it's of like a negatively connotated sentence or a phrase, like if we say even if it's said like in like a facetious way or like to produce levity, even sometimes then it could, or like in a joke, we could still put like that negative energy out into the universe or out into the world. So if I say like man, I'm not that great at that, I'm okay, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're putting out this energy to where like you're always gonna be that because that's what you're saying about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And there's a difference between that goes into me saying there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. You know what I mean? You can be confident in what you do without being arrogant about it.
Oh, yes.
And I feel like arrogance is it comes from a state of basically saying what you can. Okay, arrogance comes with pretense. Arrogance is pretentious. It's like I feel like those two words are synonymous with each other, because when you're arrogant, you come with a pretense. You know what I'm saying? Almost like you know how like the hype man like introduces like an artist to the stage and stuff. Yo, he's been all over the world, traveled to this place and that place, been to Europe and back to Asia, and came to all states in America. Welcome to the stage, blah blah, so and so and such and such. Like, that's kind of like what pretense is, because you're coming with something without actually showing what you can do.
So do arrogance is connected with pride to you?
Well, yeah, and if you look at it from a biblical context, like it could be demonic, in nature, to be arrogant or prideful, because it says pride comes before a fall.
Yes.
So it says in the Word of God. So I believe that confidence is the ability to do what you do without actually saying much about it.
That's
or coming
right.
with that pretense to it. That pretend. You don't need the hype man. You know what I'm saying? You just come out on stage and you do your thing and you leave, and people will come up with their own interpretation, their own opinion, or their own subjectiveness about what you did. You know what I'm saying? And coming from like a creative standpoint, that's why I made my album World, because it was an ode of joy, like to God, and also an ode of reverence to God, and it also is essentially a way of relating to the world, or more or less giving something that the world might need to hear, or the world might need to absorb in order to make a change in their life. That's why I call the album World, because it's a relatability thing. A lot of Christians, especially I'd say, or growing Christians, I'd say mainly like Christians who claim to be in a certain place with God, they often come off as like kind of preachy. You know what I mean? To a point where which is in itself like enmity against God. It's like carnality. Like you just said, carnality. So and that's the thing, like it's becomes sectional. It separates more than it brings together. You know what I mean? So that's what I say. Go ahead.
Sorry.
We want to say so, but no, I was gonna say this last thing before you say you gotta say that. So in that, it's like when they're constantly like it's almost like I was telling you earlier. It's almost like force feeding a baby.
Yeah.
Or force feeding anybody for that matter. You force feed somebody, you shove a spoon down somebody's throat with food in it, they're gonna do one or two things. They're either gonna throw up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna choke.
Yes.
And then maybe throw up again. So, that's what a lot of like preachers or pastors or things do. They people do that claim to be like, Christian or following God. They tend to coerce the Bible onto people, or force the Bible onto people. And it said that when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do, and we are in the world, but we're not of the world. So we give to people, like especially creatively speaking, or whether you're preaching or anything like that, the true essence and the epitome of the Holy Spirit is love, and love is a lack of control. Love does not control. The devil controls.
Yes.
Do whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But as a people that are supposed to be synonymous with God, we're made in the likeness of His image. if we're representing, if we're, and that's what makes it even like that much more detrimental to the soul, or into other people, and that's what makes it even that much more dangerous and destructive to the world.
Yes.
Is when you are representing the opposite of what that image is supposed to be represented as. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if you're saying like I represent Jesus, but you're not showing all the qualities and characteristics of who Jesus is supposed to be,
Amen.
you're doing a lot more harm than you're doing good.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
It's like telling people, oh, I'm an apple salesman, or I sell apples, or I'll say, even use a better example. I'm selling lemonade, but I'm not telling people that there's arsenic or whatchamacallit, what's that stuff, aspartame in the lemonade or any type of chemical that could affect the body and, you know, make you die. You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to ask this question, and it's personal, and to really think about this, about you. How did you find God?
My own personal journey is like, you know, I grew up like, and that's the thing that people will be surprised about. I actually grew up in the church. You know what I'm saying? From, you know, ever since I practically came out of my mama's womb, I grew up in the church and stuff like that, singing in the church and being not just a fabrication, but real, like, you know, like servant for like the Lord and stuff like that. I used to preach sermons and in the church and stuff, and I truly love God in my heart. You know what I'm saying? I always had a soul for God, but like as years go by and stuff like that, you know, the world tends to taint a lot of the righteousness in you, especially when you have a true heart for righteousness. You know, you become like a high priority for the devil. Or
Yes.
like
That's
what
true.
do they call it, like for
No, you
hitmen?
said it right.
Yeah, but I know, but they call it something for like hitmen. I guess they call it like high bounty. They call it like a high bounty target. Imagine like a hitman being like the devil. You know what I'm saying? And you're basically a person of God is the victim or the target.
Yes.
I was a high whatchamacallit, a high bounty for the devil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I were to work for his kingdom, and it came to a point where basically like I was into like the whole like agnostic thing and all of that stuff, and my, you know, I had talked to people who were into that type of lifestyle too. But the thing about it is the people that I talked to that I debated with or stuff like that, or even just had like a general conversation with that were in that type of lifestyle, something about them didn't wholeheartedly agree with me or agree with the perspective. And like, you know, if you're talking to another agnostic, you expect to have like the same perspective on things. Like if you're both agnostics, okay, we both have the same ideology and perspective. But it wasn't necessarily the case. I felt like people still saw that like I had God in me. Like for some reason, like I still thought it was, because I felt like I was trying to be something I really wasn't. You know, and God, for some reason, God always like would talk to me through different people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And even when I was in that type of I guess you said that type of perspective or lack of perspective, God still would bring people, like just situationally and circumstantially, bring people around me that were Christian. You know what I mean? That would talk to me about the Lord, or you know, bring. It seemed like He brought them more around to me when I was like that than He does now, and I'm pursuing God more. And like I said, I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect, or never even claimed to be, you know, in the place in God where I should be. But I'm working, you know, on myself each and every day, and that's, like I said, kind of why I made the album World, because it's like, you know, it's a sinner's prayer, kind of, in a way. It's a sinner's prayer, and just a way of expressing to people that, you know, I know where you're at. It's a relatability for me to people, that I know where you're at, but you can make a change. It's like providing the problem and the solution. And a lot of music you hear nowadays, they'll provide the issue, the problem, throughout an entire record, throughout an entire album, but it's like, okay,
sure.
where's the catharsis? You know what I'm saying? I still feel bad. You know, no offense to some people's records and stuff like that, but it's like, you know, you still feel bad, like at the end of the record. It's like I wanted to provide, which is kind of all my music. I wanted to provide, like, you know, here's the issue, here's the plan, and here's a solution. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, and that's life,
That's
really.
very
You
good.
know, you
Very
have to
good.
be able to implement that, and yeah.
If you had something to say to others to encourage them or to let them know there is a way out, whatever situation they're going through at this point of their life, what would you say to them?
Um, I would say that hold on, and not only hold on, but plant the seed and allow water to and sunlight to allow you to grow. Like I said, all trees and all vegetation and plants for that matter start out as a seed. In order to grow into a mighty oak, you need the process. You need the progress and the process. You need the water and the sunlight in order to grow. You need that photosynthesis. That's your food, and our food is really spirituality. You know what I mean, and the process.
But
We have to grow and journey.
as we grow, like you was talking about, life itself need trees and everything needs sunlight, right? And sometimes when it grow, there be tears in the midst that try to hold it down. How will you pull the tears away?
Well, we try and do it on our own strength a lot, which is going back to arrogance and pride, and the thing a lot of people say now is like self care or self sufficiency and stuff like that, and we try to be, and that's like the way of being self absorbed too, but we never really like seek out God. And like I wanted to say this example again
Go
because
ahead.
I didn't get it on video, is that it's like it's almost like the student trying to kill the master. When we take things upon ourselves to do, we forget the teachings and the principles of our master, which is supposed to be Jesus Christ and God. And like it reminds me of this game called Ghost of Tsushima, and the reason why it's called Ghost of Tsushima because the guy, his name is Jin in the game. He's the main protagonist. He's kind of like an anti-hero, and but he basically he's supposed to like fight with honor, and honor with his army or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And because he's a samurai, and as the game progresses throughout the game, like his master had taught him how to fight with honor, and as you progress throughout the game, he basically becomes the ghost. You know what I'm saying? Because his mind becomes distorted by the art of war, and he starts to fight not honorably or unhonorably, and he starts to like stab people in the back and use poison in order to kill his enemies and stuff like that instead of fighting them with honor, and respect, I guess you could say, so to speak. And so it gets to a point like close to the end of the game where basically he becomes basically a shell of his former self, and he ends up spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played the game yet, but he ends up killing his master, the person who taught him how to be what he
What is?
what he didn't want to become. You know what I'm saying? But he ended up becoming that thing that he didn't want to become, and because he allowed that to happen to himself. We all have choices in life that we have to make. So he allowed it to happen to himself, and he ended up killing the same person who taught him how to fight with honor. So in that example, it just goes to show that we have to really seek God about it. We can't constantly put God back up on the cross all of the time and expect him to like constantly forgive us. And that goes for me too. You know what I'm saying? As a person, we all have to learn to and this is coming from, like I said, not from me, but from the Holy Ghost of God. We have to find a way to basically learn to forgive ourselves of
Number
sin,
one. Amen.
and then ask God for forgiveness. And that way we can forgive others, and we won't have so much, hate or bigotry or malice or spite towards even people we don't know, or it can even be arbitrary hate. That's really 9 times out of 10, and most of the time it's arbitrary.
Yeah.
When it comes to hate, it's random.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It
yes.
doesn't have like hate doesn't discriminate. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right. You sure
know what
right about that.
Like, and it has a way of falling in on itself. It has a way of self destruction. It's basically what I'm trying to say. And the more that we hate, the more indiscriminate that hate is gonna be. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be on whoever is, you're targeting. Your hate is targeted towards. You know what I'm saying? Which could be random. Just think about it like gang violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter who, like for an initiation into a
Yeah.
gang, to spill blood,
Yeah.
they don't care who you do it to. You know what I'm
Do
saying?
it. Yeah.
They just want you to do it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? In order to initiate and have this brotherly, quote unquote, love, which is
Yeah.
not brotherly because it's, that's all a fabrication, it's a lie. Half the guys who go to jail or prison don't get seen by their homies. They don't bail them out. All this
Yeah.
drug money they claim they make and stuff like that, they don't bail them out. It's a state of like self sufficiency and greed, and every man for himself. So it's like a survival of the fittest type thing. But and that's the thing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Now I want to end it with this question. As you can look around you in the four winds of the earth, you see different things going on.
Yeah.
There's more anger going on. There's more suicide going on. There's more marriages that's breaking up more than ever before going on. There's families coming against each other that's going on. And some other things. There's so many things going on. So in order to change the negative to the positive, what you think man must do at this particular time? Because chaos is on the land at this point.
Yeah.
There's a disease, and God knows what else is going to come on the land. So just give them what kind of word of encouragement would you give to the people?
We have to seek God and learn to conquer our impediments through seeking Him. Learn who we are, individualism. There's this hive mind mentality that's going around now where everybody essentially is thinking the same thing.
That's true.
We're not willing to agree to disagree. And that's the point like I'm really trying to make, like, is that we don't have to agree on everything. Even the people that you love the most, you will disagree with them on something at some point in time. Because you're not the same person. You have your own minds. But it's coming to the point where we're distorting and trying to make like this utopia, this utopia, and it doesn't necessarily even exist. At least on this plane, on a terrestrial plane. About celestial plane, it'll be different.